Welcome everyone here to BINBUSTER. I'm Graydon. I'm your host for this Wednesday afternoon or early evening, late afternoon, whatever it is. I'm here. I have a friend joining me here on this call today, and it's one of those things that I decided just to do this. I was spur of the moment type of thing because there's something big I want to talk about. But first, let's see who's all here. Before I do that, here's my co-host for tonight, Kal-El Daly.
Hey, I'm really glad to be here. The one and only Superman is here. How
Yes,
you doing, Ben?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I can't complain. Thanks for having me, man. That was really awesome that you thought of me. I mean, of course you should think of Superman when you're talking
You're
about
you're
Super.
you're you're,
Yeah.
you're the biggest Superman fan I know. I mean, I tried to even reach out to Zach Braff and Donald Faison, but they say they ain't no Superman. So
Oh, nice. I like what you did right there. I like what about the Super Women? Did you reach out to them too?
um, yeah. Shaira said she was busy battling something, and Lois was nowhere to be found. So
Hmm.
like
Nope.
usual.
No Melissa Benoist. You didn't try to get her or Laura Vandervoot.
No. No, I didn't. No.
Ah,
Maybe
okay.
if I talk Supergirl, then yes. So
They got who knows? They might pop up in it though, right?
either they might.
That
But
character
first,
anyway.
before we do this, Cal, we
Hmm.
have some people to say hi to.
Cool.
Hey, look, it's Hunter's here and D-Ray's here. As we always do, guys. Guess what? It's time for
What's up? What's up?
That's right, the calling card of this channel now. What's up?
The calling card.
Hunter and D-Ray saying hey. Hunter saying hey to Ben and Cal, and here. Oh no, it's the fake rock Superman. Boo! Hey,
What
D-Ray.
did he say? Oh man,
Hey, D-Ray, throw your ones up
he's
for
a
Cal.
hater.
Throw your ones up for Cal.
He's a hater. I'm the tribal chief of the bloodline. I mean, a symbol. I mean, yeah, I'll figure that out.
Well, the reason we stated earlier, this is weird for me because I'm usually Tuesday nights, so I decided to try and do something on a Wednesday early afternoon or early evening, late afternoon, just to see how this would work
Hmm.
and see how it worked out in my schedule too. So
You know what, Ben?
yeah,
You might go all week too. You could do that too.
I could possibly do that. I mean, I do have my job allows me to go in the evenings more so, but there's a couple evenings there that won't work. Hey, Holland, what's up, man?
Oats.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah. How you doing, Holland?
Quaker Oats. What's up, man?
I have a meeting in 2 minutes. I'll try and get back in meeting and quickly. If not, I'll catch a replay. All right. Thanks, Hunter, for showing
Oh,
up. Okay.
okay, Hunter.
As you guys
We don't.
know, we're talking the Superman suit reveal breakdown. That's what we're talking about today is this suit right here that we see David Cornsweet wearing. I just zoomed in a picture just to show you guys what we're talking about. And I'm going to do the pictures as we talk about this, Cal. So, what were your initial reactions, Cal, when you first saw this?
Oh wow. I while I am the biggest Superman fan, I am also. I don't know if this is a common thing for people that's like super fans of something. I was a little hard on it at first, like and I didn't discuss it with anybody. I just was with myself. I'm like, I don't like it. It felt my thing. I think what makes and break a suit is the S. I think if the S ain't right, ain't none of it right. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I felt now I like the design. I love the this is the for me this is the what is it Kingdom Come. This is the
Kingdom Come,
Kingdom
yeah.
Come S. Yeah, so which shows me that we'll probably get that somewhere in this trilogy or quadrilogy. Who knows?
Well, it
Yeah.
says chapter 1's Gods and Monsters. And so if you determine what DC Comics says Gods and Monsters, the huge story arc that is, Kingdom Come does fall in there as an Elseworld story. So,
Mm. So this S gives me a lot of hope. I do like the design. I am excited for it, but as far as the suit goes, the S just feels like it's the whole torso. Like it feels like
uh-huh,
really big. Whereas
uh-huh.
my complaint with Superman Returns was the S was too small. I felt like that was like a big man with all that blue on, and the S is so tiny. It just didn't look right to me. Whereas
There's a
this
better
S,
shot at it right there.
yeah, this S looks like it's the whole torso, but I do like the design. It grew on me. I just
Yeah.
kept seeing it 'cause, it was wildfire on the social media post. It was everywhere. So
Oh, it
a lot of
was.
people are complaining about the background. I don't have a complaint with that. Somebody sent me a clip. Shout out to M Bear. She sent me a clip, and it was Godzilla that's shooting that blast out of his mouth right there behind him, and I
Well,
thought that was cool.
we'll get to that in a moment too, Cal. That blast, but that is
Right.
very impressive for that because there is a lot going on in that picture, not just the suit,
Yeah,
but kind of
yeah.
gets
I
you
mean,
what you're dealing with too. So,
is it me or he feels like I'm just over this? He just looks like I'm just tired of going to work. Like I get
well,
there when I get.
well, to me, Cal, it looks like, oh, I'm in a world where there's supers already. He looks out the window. Oh, they got it covered.
Oh
I'm
right.
taking my time. So, because technically speaking, Superman does not wear his boots under under his regular clothes.
Mm,
There's no
yeah.
way he can because they're actual boots.
Ben, it's funny. We know that, but we forget that. Like, I mean, who's really thinking about that? Like, I forgets that they have to change clothes, but he can do that in the blink of an eye,
Oh
so it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
really
I
matter.
know. But
But
but I'm glad this was brought up because I'm going to get to another picture by Alex Ross from an actual
mhm,
Superman comic book much later in regards to this to him sitting down like this. But
okay,
I
then
agree with you. The S,
mhm,
I like the Kingdom Come S. That was when
yeah,
early 2000s, mid to the early 2000s, when they did Superman and the Authority, and they after the New 52 and Convergence, they brought Wildstorm over into main DC continuity.
mhm,
That S became the Superman S then too. It was the same thing like the one he had, but it was red and yellow. So
mhm,
I can see where it's done there. But I mean,
mhm,
looking at the Kingdom Come S, there's subtle differences between that and this one. Whereas this S has right down at the bottom of the S, it kind of has that little curve, whereas the other one doesn't. The Kingdom Come one. So it's that subtle difference that tells me, yes, could it be Kingdom Come? Yes, it could be, but it could also be
I
something different too.
I think it will evolve when we finally get to because Kingdom Come is this for those spoiler alert, for those that haven't read that series of comics. It's an old Superman. He has gray hair, half gray hair. He's salt and pepper. So it's the older Superman. So I think over time, just like his hair and everything evolves, his S will evolve over the movies.
Yeah,
But
I
maybe
heard
that
this.
changing the S is a copyright thing too. Superman always
True.
has weird copyrights.
True. That could very well be that the because of Superman and Lois happening on TV and it's the traditional S, maybe there was a copyright thing that said they couldn't use them both at the same time. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's why if you look at Henry Cavill's, it was more stylistic too.
Mhm. But this is very reminiscent of Henry Cavill's. But I
Yeah.
will say I like the color palette. If this is truly the color they're going for, I
Uh-huh.
really like this color palette. It's not very muddy and it's not
Yeah.
super bright, but it's not dark. It still feels Superman. And I'm glad they put the yellow in there. I know
Yeah.
what it turns to black with the Kingdom Come run, but I really like
And
this. And
if you look
mhm,
at the if you look at the symbol, the shield, yeah, D-Ray, I know people are trying to compare it to a woman pulling up her stockings. I've seen that. But if you look at I moved it back to the first slide where it's a little smaller on the S, where it's zoomed in better. You see a faint yellow outline around the red too, which I kind of
mhm,
like. It kind of makes it stand out a little bit more as
yeah.
well.
I mean, and people gotta, relax. This is a cool as it looks actually, even if you never seen Kingdom Come, cool,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So most casuals haven't. They never seen that as so when you look at this, it just looks more alienish. You know what I
It
mean? It
looks
looks
more
like a
Kryptonian. Yeah, it looks more like an alien, like letter than it does RS, like we would know it.
yeah. So I really do like it, and it still looks influenced by Man of Steel. This
Yes,
is and
yes,
he really looks like Henry Cavill. Like this really does look like him.
yeah, yeah. Let's like in the second slide here. I mean, what I've noticed here, Cal, is too that we're not getting the full blown like rubberized suit. It looks like
Yeah.
because you get the little clothing like scrunch ups up top and everything.
Mhm.
So whereas Henry Cavill's suit looked like it was pretty much a scuba suit.
Yeah, it kinda did. It was fitting. Yeah. But, Ben, people are complaining about that. They feel like his suit looks puffy. I feel like it looks they're trying to make it look a little alienish, and I feel like, and try to make it armor like. I don't know. I kind of like it better than a
What?
spandex look.
Well, what would you say if this was like a Mach 1 of a suit? Like he's trying to be something like he's trying to figure out what works with him. Because supposedly in this movie we're getting a Superman that's at year 2.
Hmm. Oh
So
yeah.
so he's still relatively young in the process of the dual identity, being Clark
Hmm.
Kent, being Superman, trying to find himself in both worlds. Maybe this suit is something that's like, oh, it was made to look a little bit puffier on him, but then
Hmm.
sometime down the road, even throughout the movie, maybe it becomes tighter. Well, like he refines it in some ways. Be like, oh, this doesn't work, but this does. Let's change it here, maybe a little bit. I don't know, but like the cuffs are telling me, like if you look at the cuffs around the hands, it looks like it's not actually what is it? Not actually material, not actual cloth. But I
Hmm.
like the fact that it's a cuff there because it's looking like, okay, this looks like an actual shirt he could wear under an actual shirt rather than just, oh, it's a sleeve. So
Hmm. I feel like
it,
they went out their way to make it feel alienish. So I'm sure the suit, because like in Man of Steel, they said the suit was a certain texture. They
yeah,
always explain in the old Superman with Christopher
yeah,
Reeves, his mom made it. So it's always an explanation of the suit somewhere in the movie. I think you're right. He probably will have a different S. I hope they don't go the route of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. You remember how his suit looked the first time he went out?
yes,
I hope
yeah.
they don't do it really bad like that. They'll probably just do him in a ski mask or like the Blur, like the way Smallville did the Blur. Maybe they'll do something like that when he
Give
first starts.
Hey Cal,
But
give me 1 second.
sure.
We got someone else in here. I just have to say,
What's up? What's up?
what's up, Corey? How you doing today, man? Thanks for
What up,
showing
Will?
up. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I just think I think we're overreacting. Honestly, for some reason, I just don't even see that this. I think this is promotional pics. I don't think
I
this is going
agree.
to even
I
be in the
agree.
movie. I don't think we'll ever see this shot in the movie.
I honestly I think we're seeing this as a result of, hey, let's show you an actual professionally done picture
Hmm.
before you get it leaked out there.
Hmm. A lot of people said this looks very
Photoshopped?
artificial. Yeah, they're just saying it looks like GBT type thing, and I can see where they're coming from because of the palettes, but people got to understand chat GBT pulls from it's really not as smart as people think it is. It's pulling from the internet. So it's really just taking these are the tones people use today. So it's just
Yes.
mimicking things. And I like it, man. Ben,
Yeah.
it has so much color while still saying realistic and grounded, where they're not trying to make because my always complaint was stop trying to make Superman like Batman. Just
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
Superman Superman and drop him in a dark world. And that's where it feels like they're finally figuring that out. Like we'll keep him true to the character of Superman, bright, and we'll just drop him in a dark world. It feels like they figured it out.
It's like our comment we just got, Cal, from Michael's Movie Corner. As a casual-ish fan, he likes it. So if a casual-ish fan likes the
Hmm.
suit, I'm all for it. I mean, I can't complain about it. There was also this post that came on Instagram that showed different aspects of the suit, i.e., the lines and the collar of the suit are reminiscent of the New 52 of the comic books. James Gunn
Hmm.
did say he's going to take a lot of his inspiration from the early 2000s Tim King run of Superman, which includes the New 52. So
Hmm.
with the collar and the little alien lines on there, you get that the S of the Kingdom Come, the classic because he's wearing the red underwear outside the pants. That's why it's
Isn't
classic.
it?
He is. Look closer at the
Okay.
picture. You see the little yellow belt and the
Well,
red
Ben,
underneath it.
I didn't want to look that direction that deep, but okay,
Well,
okay,
and
yeah,
then
I
and
see.
then and then how you see how it says Fleischer?
Hmm.
This is where I was coming
Right.
in with the first slide we had, where it was the yellow around the S. Max Fleischer's first take on the character when he first drew it, we saw it in Superman Lois, where it's that yellow shield with the black background with just the regular S on it. That's
Hmm.
what that's reminiscent of. That's why Fleischer is mentioned in this slide as the inspiration for this costume.
Hmm.
And I think take it from a little bit of classic, a little bit new stuff, a little bit of the ideal Superman story of Kingdom Come and some Fleischer stuff, you're mixing a lot of different takes on the Superman look together, and I kind of like it because it kind of meshes.
It's like that's why I think the title Superman Legacy was perfect, because it's like a legacy of Superman costumes all in one, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
And if you look here, you get almost the color palette of Henry Cavill's. Well, we can't really tell that because in some of this picture it looks kind of bluer, a little brighter, but also looks a little dark. And if you look closely at the S, you also see that it's kind of battle damaged or dirty right there. Like he was just out in battle or something.
right. Yeah, I think this, they're going to explain that the suit is made of some different type of hardware, some alien
It
hardware.
looks
'Cause
like
it's
when we
really
just got
cool.
the picture of the S, it looks like it's cloth. It looks cloth.
hmm
So they did something like say it's like a latex or or like like a spandexy type of material that they made to look like cloth, or even a
Right.
little bit of a rubberish material thrown in there to make it look like it's cloth. I'm all for it.
Okay, here's a question.
Yeah,
Have you seen when Supergirl in the newer series, at some point she advances and she has tech for her suit,
yeah,
and it's kind of like Iron Man. She hits a button and the
yeah,
suit just forms on her body. You think they might
yes,
go that route with this, where
yes.
it could just form on
I
his body?
think you have Mr. Terrific for that.
Okay.
There's a reason you have Mr. Terrific, you have Hawkgirl, you have Guy Gardner, and you have Metamorpho in here as superheroes because Superman's currently in a world where they exist. So those are members of the JSI, the Justice JLI, sorry, Justice League International.
hmm
But Mr. Terrific is a master of tech, and so I could kind of see him like what you were saying, where he kind of makes it where it's kind of a techno-based suit, and it just molds
Yeah,
to him, and
like
maybe
Tony Stark, kind of,
yeah,
but just not. Yeah.
maybe it's supposed to be baggy. Maybe it's baggy because he just switched the switch on, and it transformed his regular clothes into the Superman suit.
But if he did do that, I don't think he would be putting on boots. But then again,
Yeah,
Joe Ben, I just think this is a picture.
yeah.
I think this is literally a picture. This will never make the movie. I don't think.
No, this won't, and this is something that you like. I agree with this. It is a picture, and they wanted to show you the Superman suit without giving away anything in the movie. Really, that's what this
hmm
is. They're
Yeah.
like, how
See,
do we
but
do this where it's just not him standing in front of a green screen in natural lighting? Oh, here's what we're going to do.
see, you say Fletcher, but when I look at this suit, I am seeing Kingdom Come all day, and I'm seeing New 52, because that
Yes,
neckline is in that cape. How the cape is hanging,
yes,
so
yeah.
New 52, and I
Yeah,
love
well,
the cape placement. They
I
fit. They
like I
really.
said with the Fleischer, it
That's
was
cape placement.
it was
I'm sorry.
the yellow around the shield. How you see the yellow around the red?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Fleischer aspect of it. What up, Jerry? How you doing, man?
I
What's
re-
up? What's up?
Sorry, Cal. You can continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I really like this cape placement though. How it's
I
in
do too.
there, and that looks like that'll be tech too. I could see him or having a suit, and maybe the suit's underneath his clothes when he rips, and then he'll hit a button or he'll do something, and the cape will just come out. I wonder if the cape is actually CGI this time, because I noticed that whole Man of Steel run, the cape is not real; it's just CGI.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways you can make it CGI, but I would still prefer practical in some scenes.
hmm
Like close-ups, I would rather still have it be practical,
hmm
and like when he's
Well,
flying, kind of make it
yeah,
CGI.
I know we're in a different day, but I remember seeing Man of Steel as it was being made, and just seeing him walking around on set with no cape. It just
Yeah,
felt so. It just didn't feel
it,
right. It's like
yeah,
Superman with no cape just don't feel right.
and I mean that's the thing too. It's yeah, it's like that. Dean Cain wore a cape on set.
hmm
Christopher Reeve wore a cape on set. George Reeves wore a cape on set. Tyler Hoechlin wears a cape on set. Melissa
Yeah,
Benoist wore a cape on set. So I mean,
yeah,
and you're talking Melissa Benoist and Tyler Hoechlin, who are more modern day interpretations of the suits of those characters, and
hmm
still they have a practical effect of having that cape right there with them.
Can I ask you a question? Now,
Sure.
people say this is year one of Superman. Cool, but I don't think that's such a big deal like people are making it, because I see Batman. Batman always started where even if he was a little bit newer to the game before this newer movie, he always started where he was not new, but in Batman '89, people know who he is. He's been doing things in the shadows for a while, and we see his rise in the Nolan films. And we see how that comes along. Whereas this film, there everybody's like, "Oh, this is Superman Year One," but if you remember, we've always seen Superman Year One. I mean, from this Christopher Reeves to the Henry Cavill, we've always seen him just starting out as Superman. So I don't know why they're making that such a big deal.
Because
This is Year One.
because they want him to come into a world where he's not the first superhero. And so where he's coming into a world that's already had superheroes in this and kind of making it where he's still trying to feel himself out as still trying to be human, but not necessarily being a true human in a human world, if that makes sense.
I get that, and I know that's what they're going. That worries me, but I know that's where they're going. But them keep pushing that this is his first year as Superman or year two. Them pushing that so much, it still doesn't tell me that that's that there's other heroes. Like, I mean, of course it's their world building, so I understand that, but I don't know them pushing it that it's his first year. I mean, like that's all we've ever seen of Superman. It's his earlier years. We've never actually seen an older. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Superman Returns is supposed to be a sequel, so we've never truly actually seen an older Superman. So when they keep pushing the year one, it doesn't really make sense to me. And also too, when you talk about the JLA, that's fine, and I like that they're doing that because they're built in a bigger atmosphere. But at the same time, I'm scared for this movie because like with so many characters
Too much.
it's going to lose focus. It's a
Yeah.
Superman movie, not a Justice League or JSA movie, or
Yeah.
JLA. So
we got
oh,
we got a question. Cal, what's your
Okay.
favorite Superman movie?
Superman
Two?
2. Yes.
Donner or theatrical cut?
Theatrical, man. I just seen Donner maybe 3-4 years ago. I finally seen the Donner cut. It's cool. It's really cool. It's good. But no, Superman 2 by far. Easy. Actually, Superman 2 is probably my favorite movie of all time.
So Emmett's asking, Cal, do you think it's better than Henry Cavill's?
So far,
I
I
actually have to see him standing up and like him fighting in order to make that comment.
I say 70-30, yes. I think it's better than his, and I think it will be better, and I think it's going to keep evolving each movie like everybody's suit does nowadays. But when Henry Cavill's suit came out, I liked it better. I don't know. I wasn't too sold on it. So I'm more sold on this suit than I was when Henry Cavill's suit was revealed. So I'll say yes.
Okay. I mean, as another question, is there going to be a Lex Luthor in this movie? Yes, it's played by Nicholas Hoult from Renfield, more recently Renfield, and the X-Men and the First Class, the Menu, and the X-Men First Class trilogy. So I'm stoked for that casting because I think that's going to be good.
That is the most interesting casting of it all. I mean, this is a good casting here now that I see him in the suit. But I could have kept Henry Cavill if they would have. But as far as like new casting, that Lex Luthor casting is really good. And if you've seen him in the Menu, just little pieces of him in the Menu, how his attitude flares, I could just see that working really well for Lex Luthor.
Yeah. So next thing we're going to do is here's just a shot. There's still a shot we got. I'm going to go zoom in for a little bit on that background that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right here. This background right here. If you notice closely, there's that beam that you said someone said could be Godzilla right there. But if you'll notice at the other end, there's a little green spot. To me, that's showing me that Green Lantern's battling this. And if you see, there's a faint beam like shooting into it. So it's like all pink and then shooting into it. So it's Green Lantern's hiding behind this little window frame right here, battling this thing, whatever it is. Maybe it's the engineer. Maybe this is part of the engineer's powers, because we are not getting anyone else big who would have a explosion atmosphere kind of like that, except for her.
Wow. I didn't even pay attention. I seen the green, but I didn't pay attention to what it was like. It could be another hero. And that probably is. And that would explain why he's taking his time too, because he's like really taking his time dressing.
It's like, oh, the Green Lantern has this. Okay, this is fine. And if you notice where the beam's coming out, the pink beam's coming out from the bottom, it's actually looking like it's shooting from whatever this is here, whatever this pink blob is. It's either shooting down at something because of that little blast thing right there, or this is a force field of some kind that they're trying to penetrate.
No, you don't think that could be somebody there and it's just penetrating on them, like it's full blasting on them? They're standing there,
Yeah,
maybe.
it could very well be the engineer who is the villain of this movie could very much take a blast like that. Yes.
Oh, okay. So the engineer is the villain of this movie.
Yes. Yeah, she is the villain, and engineers from the Authority, who's from Wildstorm, everybody. Buddy, so we're getting a bunch of the Authority in here, which means Gods and Monsters, which means we're probably going to get it. Not necessarily an Earth 2 version of the Justice League. We're probably going to get the Authority in here and Superman trying to combat the moral compass side of things against the Authority's no holds barred, we take no prisoners attitude.
And they're still doing a Supergirl movie, right?
Yes, and it's based in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It's based on one of the best runs of Supergirl in comics, where it's a little bit of a more, not necessarily darker thing, but makes Supergirl more serious. Let's put it that way, of a character.
Okay.
Rather than always being the sidekick and the goofy character. D-Ray says it's Superman versus Dragon Ball Z.
Maybe. Dragon Ball Z loses. I don't care what you say, D-Ray.
D-Ray's favorite movie is Dragon Ball live action movie.
But Ben, I was going to say, now that you tell me it's the engineer, okay. But from my guess, when I first saw it, I was thinking that was Brainiac doing that. And Superman, he has to suit up because this is his problem. This is a villain from his home. So he's like getting prepared to go out and fight when he probably was torn on showing himself. And so this is the moment he has to go out there and fight his problem.
If this is the moment where he's like early on, where it's a battle sequence and Superman shows up, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, but
that aspect.
I don't know. You say it's the engineer. I don't know, because I always thought Brainiac is the one villain that we need and we should have been gotten. So
yeah,
I would think
live action Brainiac would be very well, especially in the movies. They did very well in Krypton. And Smallville had a very interesting take on it too. So
yeah, I like the Smallvilles too. But technically, like, a lot of people don't get that Superman 3, that was posed to be Brainiac, that computer that he fought. Yeah, so it was kind of cool. And funny thing is, when they were doing Superman Lives, it was supposed to be Christopher Walken was going to be our Brainiac. So that probably would have been.
You want to know something? Brainiac was actually supposed to be it was kind of in Man of Steel. Remember that computer that Jor-El is always talking to, and it kind of does that little weird thing where it kind of moves? That was actually supposed to be the start of Brainiac.
Yeah, man. Wish we could have got that.
Oh yeah. So the thing I was talking about, how people are saying, "Oh, he's sitting down. Why would he do this?" Here's an Alex Ross cover of Superman. We're still wearing the shirt and the glasses. Be like, oh, like he's either had a rough day, and if you notice the lamp, it's just like he probably just flew in here and just sat down,
right?
Type of thing.
But that's more realistic. I mean, if you came home, if you were Superman was real and you came home, I mean, this is realistic to me. Superman gets tired. People think he doesn't get tired. I mean, y'all do know Superman sits down at a typewriter, right? Well, he used to. He probably sits at a computer nowadays, but he sits.
Yeah. He worked on a farm as a kid and as a teenager, so yeah, he gets tired.
Yeah, I don't think that tires him out, but like him battling superpower beings who are, if he battles Zod, that's like him fighting. That would be like the equivalent of you fighting another person at your same exact strength. So it's, he's tired.
But I mean, this is like I was saying, when people said, "Oh, he's sitting down," why would Superman sit down? I'm like, here you go. This is from Alex Ross. And Alex Ross posted after he saw the photo that was there. He goes, "I love the homage here."
Yeah. Do you feel like it's an homage though? I mean, you're sitting down, but is it really an homage? Do you feel that way?
No, but I mean, I don't think it is. But I mean, I can see where Alex Ross is going with that. After all, Alex Ross is responsible for Kingdom Come Superman too. So
this is true.
Are you glad the red trunks are back, Cal?
I feel like that's a trick question. Like if I say yes, that's going to be like, Yes, I mean, I put it this way: when they got rid of them, I understood that was more realistic because, like, I wouldn't wear them, but
That was
you
the new
know,
52 look, yeah.
yeah, but now it feels more Superman, man. Like it just, I don't know. I don't know.
It
I
brings
can see any direction, but yeah, I'm glad they're back.
it kinda brings in I'm kind of glad they're back too. It kinda brings in the red of the cape and the boots and on the S more, because it's
Yeah.
like those colors just seem out of place if you don't have those trunks.
Yeah, and also too with the color palettes of today, like they're always trying to muddy him to make him more Batman-esque. So they're always making him not red anymore, more like maroon or it's very dark, deep
It
red, blood red. You
it's
know.
also what they've been doing lately in the comic books too. Superman's blue hasn't become like the blue we know, like the royal blue. It's kind of become
hmm
more a tinge of navy over the years.
And I get that though. I mean,
Yeah,
over
yeah,
time, so it's like I remember I was campaigning for years. Like RoboCop should have a black suit. Realistically, he would be out there in a black suit, not a gray suit. But and it's the same thing with Superman. Realistically, he wouldn't wear. He would probably wear darker colors. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's tradition. It's see, and that's why I like this picture because it's the perfect. If this is the color palette, it's the perfect. It's not too bright and it's not too dark. It's
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
So.
Yes. It's not too bright, not too dark, and enough a little bit of alien that makes
hmm
sense as to what it is.
I love the yellow bin because I didn't know how they were going to pull the yellow off. The yellow
Yeah.
always worries me because that can make or break the tone of the movie.
It can be too bright, like we
hmm
saw in the picture here. It could be too bright in
hmm
this out cross art, or it could be too dull like we got with Henry Cavill's.
Right, and I really
So
don't like it all. It fits here. It's more, it's like a goldish,
it's kind of gold mustardy color. Yeah, I kind of like it too, Cal. I mean,
yeah, yeah, I do. That worried me, but see, like a traditional Christopher Reeve suit today's age, that would be if they were going for a Marvel type tone movie, that
yes,
might work. But for a DC of today's, this is pretty good.
yes, yes. This is, and like I said, I'm going to hold off like this is just us talking about the suit and giving our thoughts on it. I'm holding off if this movie is going to be good or bad until I
It
see a
better
trailer.
be good, because
Until I see a trailer.
it better be good though, Ben. Because
Yeah,
I don't want to say this is Superman's last chance, but Superman, I don't know, man. It's just this is a big ride on DC. I'm actually shocked. I understand why you would want to start with Superman, but I'm shocked they did. So
yeah. So am I. I'm like considering how popular Batman is, but we already get the Batman
yeah,
with Robert Pattinson in there. So I'm thinking, hey, let's not put Batman as number one.
maybe that's why they wanted Batman connected to this universe. So
Cavill almost looked bronze rather than gold. That's true. His
hmm
yellow kind of looked bronze-ish.
yeah, yeah. It's nice to get away from the more spandecky look, because he is a superpower alien, so his tech should be a little
But
more advanced.
but this also comes into the play as well here with the suit. I mean, we all know he's bulletproof,
hmm
but comes the question is, does he know this? Or does he think it's the suit more so than anything else?
I
Because
mean,
there's been points at times even in the comic books where Superman gets shot,
mhm,
but they always bounce it off the S of the chest.
right.
So there's always been a thing for a year. It's just the S bulletproof, nothing else on Superman.
Nah. I just always thought he would figure that out as a kid, like working
Yeah,
on the farm. An accident would happen. He would get hit. Clark always gets into trouble. He always, like on Smallville, he put his hand into the shredder. And so I mean, if something like that happens, you pretty much know you're bulletproof. If a
yeah,
shredder can't shred you, you're
yeah.
bulletproof.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I was a little bit worried too with this when I first saw it. I'm like, oh, suit reveal. I'm like, okay, let's see this. I was a little worried that they were going to connect the cape to the shield.
Mm, but then, and if they did that, they would have had to have the S placement higher, I would think. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I see what you're going. It would just look like it was coming out the sides of the S, the
Yeah,
symbol.
yeah.
Mm,
Added the cape on there. I mean, if that was the case, and it's like, okay, it's kind of armorish, then the S becomes kind of
mhm.
armory.
I think you
that
will see that though, Ben. At some point when he fights, I don't know, Brainiac or Zod or whoever in the future, you will see that eventually.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for all we know, is this could be Lex in a power suit too.
Yeah,
In
and
the
you know,
back of
Lex,
that.
they always got these purple tones to Lex in the comics, so
Mm-hmm.
purple and green, you know.
Yes, yes. I mean, that could
And
very well be that. I mean, I could be looking into that whole Green Lantern thing, but like you said, it could be a Lex thing too because of the purple and green.
what kind of Lex are we getting? Do you know? Are we getting presidential type Lex or
I
what?
I honestly don't know. I would love to see him not necessarily being presidential. Like he's been in Metropolis for years. Like
Hmm.
he's believable. Nicholas Holt at his age is believable that he's been running a multi-million corporation for at least a decade.
Hmm.
Say Lex Guy's at 21. I think Nicholas Holt's like in his late 30s, early 40s. So at least a decade he's been Lex, the businessman. I mean, he could have honestly seen, hey, look at what I've done. LexCorp is responsible for Star Labs. LexCorp is responsible for this. I'm running for governor or mayor.
Hmm.
And starting the aspect of him becoming president in that aspect.
Yeah, I kind of would like to see them get off on the wrong foot. Maybe Superman sees what he's doing. He's spying. He's doing some illegal stuff up in outer space or something. He throws some of his satellites down, and that's where he first comes on Superman's radar. And
Yes.
Superman knows that he's no good, but he has the world fooled like he's a good guy.
Yes. Do you think it'll be one of those things that if we're getting a world where superheroes exist, do you think it's a realm of a possibility that we're going to see Kryptonite in this movie, or do you think that would be something that would be more introduced in later installments?
Um, it depends. It depends because if they're really trying to go with family, like they're pushing in this movie, where he has his work family, his superhero family, his real family, if they're really trying to push this like that,
Mhm.
yes, I think Kryptonite will show up because he'll need family. He'll have to learn to trust or have people that have his back. That there'll be a scene where they have to save him from Kryptonite. If not, maybe because we really like a lot of people fail to forget that you know Kryptonite made a quick appearance in the last Superman run
Yeah.
we got, so
Yeah.
it really wasn't there much. It was coming, I'm sure, but it really wasn't until he
Yeah.
fought Batman. But you got to have it if you're going to make Lex Luthor have a chance. You got to have it, but maybe it's like I don't know. Did you see the last Tomb Raider movie?
Yes. Yes, I have.
So it was a good movie, I thought. And so she didn't get her iconic guns till the very last scene in the movie. And, that was for a sequel. And I think maybe we might get that treatment for Superman. Whereas you won't see that kryptonite till the end. Maybe Lex, because he's not the main villain, Lex.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll pop up with the kryptonite at the end of the movie. And then, that'll leave you something to look forward to. Like, oh, Superman's all godlike, powerful. Yeah, but I have his weakness. And that's the next movie,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I would love that little hint. He opens up a case and it's glowing green, and that's all you see is the green light on Nicholas Holt's face, and him just looking down and looking up at the camera, smiling.
Yeah. I think I would like him to feel. I don't want to say I want him cocky because that's really not
Yeah.
Superman, but I would want him very confident that he can handle a problem with somebody like Lex, and then he just run like the old Superman. He just ran into
Yeah.
a problem because when Gene Hackman lifts that thing up, Superman is like, I can't believe this is happening. Like he's never seen that before, So it was shocking at the time. So I
Yes.
think that would really hit hard if they play it right. If you got the right emotion, that he's been
Yeah.
saving the world, he's beating superpower beings, then he runs into his one weakness. And it would be nice to see. I don't know how they pull this off, Ben. Do they pull it off where he doesn't know that kryptonite, or he thinks that he has to know because he does training. He does his, before he becomes Superman, he does all his schooling and training in the fortress and everything. But it's just, does he know? Does
It's
he think
not
this doesn't exist on
it's
this
not
earth?
on Earth yet. That's my
Yeah.
theory. It's not on Earth yet because both Clark and Kara were jettisoned from Krypton at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Kara lands first. In every account of the story, Kara lands first, then Clark does. But Clark comes in, whereas Kara, upon being jettisoned off, actually grows in the pod, where Clark doesn't. So he actually had to straighter journey, but Kara's she was growing in the pod as she goes to Earth, and she arrives at Earth first over
Mhm.
Cal. But since he's been on Earth more, if that makes
Mhm.
sense, the radiation makes him appear older than what he is to Kara.
Right. But people aren't going to understand that. A lot of people don't.
No.
They think this is a woke thing. That Supergirl is originally more powerful than Superman at first. So, but that's always how it's usually been written.
Yeah.
Even in Smallville. Now that was iteration of her. She was caught somehow. Her ship got stuck somewhere, but
Mhm.
she was always older than him. But she kept growing too. So when she came out, she
It
was
was
younger than him
it,
all of a sudden.
yeah. It was one of those things that even in the comics, up until like uh it was this one, it was Crisis on Infinite Earths, where we get the iconic picture of Superman holding her damaged body, her dead
Yeah.
body.
Right.
It was shortly after that they're like, okay, like we don't have much in the way of female superheroes that girls can relate to, because they were seeing a growth in readership in the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
And a lot of it were females. And so they're like, what do we do? We have Wonder Woman. Yeah, but do we have anyone else? Look, Marvel has the X-Men. Marvel has the Fantastic Four. They have prominent female characters in these comics now. What do we do? And it's like, let's bring back Supergirl. Let's bring back Batgirl. Let's make them more prevalent, more relatable, but yet still keep them the nuance where we don't want to depower Supergirl, but we also don't want her overshadowing Superman, who's been here forever. It was kind of that balance to begin with, that like we want her as powerful as him, but we don't want her to do everything that he does, because she hasn't he's honed his craft. She hasn't yet.
And that's usually how he beats her, because he knows what
Yeah.
he's doing.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
a lot of times I see that she's actually stronger when they do fight,
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
he just knows what he's doing.
Well, it's
So
because like I said, when they're jettisoned off of Krypton, she's actually a teenager, so she's been training in different techniques of fighting and whatnot. Because Zor-El, her father, was the military side of things, where Jor-El was more the science. So she has that background of being a warrior, being a fighter. And so with that being thrown in there, yes, it's going to make her more cocky, more arrogant than Superman because of that aspect. Oh, I have your same powers. I can beat you. But Superman, like I said, Superman has been doing it for so long, or because he has to be on Earth and he's not with people who have his same skill set. He has to learn, okay, I'm more powerful than these people because I can do this, and I have to watch out what I do because of this. So he kind of not necessarily throws a punch per se, but he knows his own strength and he knows his own limitations and where that line needs to be drawn, whereas Supergirl doesn't.
Yeah, just hope the audience knows that. They'll
Well,
say it's woke.
Now, if they did it where it was a Kingdom Come story arc, or they did something else where it's like Clark is dying, like make a Kingdom Come and you make that Supergirl instead of Clark, then yes, fans could be outraged about that. But you make a Supergirl that is as on par as Superman. Okay, that's fine, because the only other woman who's on par with Superman is Wonder Woman. And even then, she's a level underneath him when it comes to power rankings and power skills.
What about Power Girl?
That's funny you mentioned that, Cal, because you remember the Supergirl that I said died in Infinite Crisis? That's the original Power Girl. So because of the Kara Zor-El becomes Power Girl originally. That was until they changed it around like late 90s, early 2000s when she took the Earth name of Karen Starr, so she became Karen and not Kara anymore. And then the Kara moniker was given to Supergirl again. So because they brought back her, Power Girl actually became on par with Superman. So it wasn't necessarily Supergirl who became on par with Superman. It was Power Girl who became on par with Superman.
Ben,
Because she
I
found
just
out
don't.
the same way that if she rested her body in the sun of the earth, kind of like how Clark resurrects himself too, because of all the sun radiation, and about time his cells were completely depleted when he died. Same with hers. So by the time she gets enough radiation in her body again from the sun that she's buried, it becomes one of those things that it does it. And she's also part Daxamite too, so her physiology actually is a little different than Superman's too.
Ben, I just don't like the fact that you call Supergirl Karen. It's just like she.
It's her name. Look it up. It's Karen Starr.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
Karen,
Yeah.
But yeah, cool, Ben. I didn't know that.
I'm curious in this movie too on what Lois's whole thing is in this movie, because
Mhm.
you need a strong Lois, and in my opinion, you need a strong Lois to be on par with Superman. Just not necessarily cocky or arrogant,
Mhm.
but think of how
Mhm.
Margot Kidder was. She
She
could
got to
hold her
be
own.
brash. She got to be
Yeah,
very I don't want to say outgoing, but she got to be, hate to say it, dominant. That's
yeah,
how Lois
yeah,
Lane really always has been.
yeah, and bring it back and have her actually show her growing up in the military household. Like just have things around her office or around her apartment that has that. Maybe she wears a copy of her dad's dog tags on her, so that way she can, okay, yay, dad, okay, type of thing.
Yeah, man.
Because if she's raised in a military, as a military brat, a lot of those kids I think completely different than the rest of us do,
Mhm.
and their attitudes against certain things are even more either brash or what we would think is brash, or come up as a little cocky or dominant, because that's how they are, because it's like that's their household that they're in.
Well, Ben, since we're doing early Superman, why not do Lana Lang first?
Because he's in Metropolis, not Smallville.
But you know that Blair's like we've had Smallville, right?
But
Lana
here's the
Lang went to
thing.
Smallville, and the movie Superman 3, she went to
But,
Metropolis.
yes, but here's my thing. You ready for this?
Right.
Who's to say that the scenes that of the Martha and Jonathan kit that have been cast are even in the movie? It could be like a credit sequence, kind of like what we saw in the Wolverine, where he's
Mhm.
running through the woods and you see him in the different eras. Maybe we see something like that as they're playing that Superman theme, and you see him jetting into space, him
That is
landing,
true.
kind of like how which Superman was that? Was that 3 or 4 that they did that in the original with Christopher Reeve?
2.
2, yeah. So they kind of show kind of like how they did that in the title sequence. You can show Martha and Jonathan there. That's all you see of them. You see him
But
in
Ben,
Smallville, and because we all know his origin story, you don't need to show the origin story. So we're not going to see that. That's why they say this is year 1 or year
but
2, because we don't need to see that.
technically they've only showed his origin story one time. I mean, if you don't count Smallville, if you just count movies,
Yes, yeah,
they've only the other movies are flashbacks. But
exactly.
what I'm saying is, Ben, all right, if he's so early in his Superman thing, you know what I mean, 1 or 2 years as Superman, his high school sweetheart is still in his heart. It's very fresh. Given that he's young,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not like she died or something. So she's still around, and he
No,
probably
I know.
still lives in Smallville too. He
Yeah,
might he might commute to Metropolis. I don't know. It's just the direction. But why not have both love interests, and he gradually evolves to love Lois. He can't stand her at first, maybe, then he grows to love her.
exactly. I think we might get her, but just not in this film.
Mhm. We'll see.
Like maybe mentioned
Mhm.
every now and again, something like that. Maybe maybe when he calls her Smallville, or maybe when Lois calls him Smallville, because you know that's going to be in there because that's her kind of her pet name for
Yeah.
him.
I
Kind of
don't
calling him
think they're
Smallville, and
gonna do
he
the
kind of sits there, and just smiles, kind of
uh-huh.
smirks, remembers Lana, remembers
Mhm.
the kids there, he remembers his
As
friends.
long as they do it better than the Man of Steel. I didn't like the way they rushed into that. I didn't feel that
Yeah,
relationship. I really didn't. But also too, I
the
think
Margot Kidder one, kind of they kind wasn't necessarily rushed, but it kind of was. Well, but you got an interesting play that she couldn't stand Clark, but she found she liked Superman.
No,
I
but
kind of like the way they
she's
played that.
always been like that, kind of selfish. Even in the
Yeah,
Superman cartoon and from the 2000s on the animated series, she's always been like, I don't got time for Clark, but she loves Superman. She's always been that way. It's just
yeah.
it it barely bothers him. He gets over it, but it's always been that way. But my thing is, look, I think they might go the route of, now that I'm thinking about it, the Homecoming route where Gwen Stacy is the girl of
Oh,
Spider-Man,
okay.
and eventually, and then the next movie, we'll have both, but eventually it'll be Lois Lane for
Clark
the next two
Clark
movies.
loves Lana. Superman loves Lois,
Yeah,
and he's kind of split because
right.
what the Kensington told him is everything that Lana is, but everything
Right.
that Superman stands for is Lois.
And I think playing with Lana, like Smallville did, if they play with Lana a little bit, you can have more leeway to tell more stories where people won't be like, well, that's not Lois Lane. A lot of people don't know Lana Lang like that. So,
Yes, exactly. Well, like you said, it's not Lois. It's kind of like how in the Batman, yes, they kind of show the Joker, but you kind of can't have him without that. It's like having the Superman movie. If it was any other villain, if it was Brainiac, I would be fine with it if they didn't show Lex. But if they had any other villain in there but no Lex showing up, I'd be like, you can't do that. Lex is his main villain. That's why I said if it was Brainiac and you didn't have Lex in here, I would be perfectly fine.
yeah, yeah. I feel because maybe Batman has that fortunate because he has a lot of good villains, but he's had more movies and
The
more stories.
Condiment King is the best villain ever that Batman's faced.
I think you can tell a story of a grounded Batman with Slade, the Court of
Yes.
Owls,
Yes. League of
Talon,
Assassins. We kind of
even the
got that in the
Toy Maker, the
yes.
Riddler. I think you can do all of them without Joker if they wanted to, but they
Exactly.
probably won't. But Superman, it is very hard to do it without Lex because people
Well,
don't
see,
understand
you can't
just the
ground
good in.
Superman.
Mhm,
He's the ideal superhero. He has
mhm,
powers far beyond those of mortal men. It's kind of like the whole All-Star Superman catchphrase, "You'll believe a man could fly." That the same one that they used in the original to as a tagline for the original Superman.
mhm.
That
It's
you
man
would
versus
believe,
God too.
yeah, that you would have. Could you will believe that man could fly? So it's like, okay, they don't view him as that tagline there in that aspect shows me that they don't view him yet as the godlike character he could be, that he's just a man who has abilities.
Mhm.
And I think
You
that's
know,
what they're going for here is that he hasn't figured like they he knows who he is. But it's one of those things that I don't think the overall metropolis will know yet, or the world will know what he could be or what he is. They think he's just a man with powers.
I hear you. I hear you.
Did Emmett says, "Did you like Smallville better than Gotham?"
Well, of course. Well, of
Um,
course.
they both have their pros and cons. I like them as much equally. I mean, they both should have ended sooner than what they did, in my opinion.
I don't agree. I think Gotham should have went longer, and I think Smallville was great. It could have still went.
Gotham
I
will
do
only,
not
in
agree.
my opinion, Gotham could have went longer if they age progressed Bruce a lot.
Man, Gotham. Look, you're telling the story of Gotham. That's what people couldn't get
You're
past
telling the
at
story
first.
of James Gordon. The
Yes.
moment they put Bruce Wayne as a major, as soon as they had Bruce suit up, I'm like, you just lost this whole thing. Like
Yeah.
now,
Well,
if it was
they knew they were going off the air, but I mean,
well,
it's
well,
the story of Gotham.
and here's the thing: you could have done
Hmm.
it, Cal. You could have done it where Jim Gordon, this entire series was Jim writing his memoirs. He's in his office and he
Hmm.
closes them and says, "What do you think?" And you just see the hand and the voice. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the story of Gotham. It's your story,
Yeah.
Jim.
But see,
So
I looked at it like the city. It was called Gotham. So while it was a James, it was meant to be a James
yeah,
Gordon
yeah.
show. It evolved into a lot of other things
Okay.
over time.
Then in Smallville, it should have focused. Then they should not have killed off Martha or Jonathan or moved it to Metropolis at all.
But it's Gotham. So what I'm saying is they could have told us there's so many villains and little things like you see all the mafia stuff they told. There's so many things they could have went into. They could have told more stories. But that's fine. But I will say to that question, Gotham is probably my second favorite. Arrow's kind of close, but Arrow had some dull seasons. I
Villain.
liked every season of Gotham.
You want to talk about a grounded realism with characters? Up until a certain season, Gotham had them hands down. Until they got into like the 4 different Jokers.
Well, that was the last season, right?
Actually, Joker was in like 3 or 4 of them.
The original Jerome, he was in there, but when they had like they did a Joker twin thing, and he was in the last one, right?
Yeah. So I'll do this last question, and then we'll get out of here, Cal. So,
all right.
Emmett says, "What was your reaction when you saw Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine?"
Say that again, man.
Emmett asks, "What was your reaction when you saw Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine?"
Is this story before Logan? Because Logan was his perfect send off.
That's
it.
That was his one thing I heard that he wanted to say about this. He goes, "I don't want to ruin Logan for the fans, because Logan was the perfect send off for me and Patrick in these roles."
Yeah, I think
because it was a perfect send off, and he goes, "That's why they say in the trailer, oh, this Wolverine failed his universe." Yeah. So this is not the Logan that we see in. This is not the Wolverine we see in Logan that has been all throughout the Fox universe. This is probably another variant somewhere in there. It tells me with the way his costume is, it's probably the 97 variant from the cartoons.
Yeah, I don't know, but I look forward to the movie. I'm just curious if that mask is going to hold up to if that mask is going to hold up to the screen.
Yeah, same here, Cal. Same here. So, like I said, Cal, we're closing this up right now. I just want to say thank you for everyone watching. And Cal, where can they find you?
You can find me on my channel at Kal-El Daily, and I got some other stuff coming. Hopefully this week I'll have something new coming out, and you can find me on Instagram at Kal-El Daily, and that's pretty much it.
I'll put all the stuff in the description below on this YouTube channel, for the YouTube channel. As always, you guys could find me here on BINBUSTER on YouTube. Find me in BINBUSTER on all social media platforms. You guys can find me. Stay tuned because I will be posting some stuff on Instagram soon that's very exciting for me as a creator, as a content creator, as a fan of movies, as a guy who loves creating content. So something right there's coming, and that it's exciting for me that I want people to be a part of it. So there we go.
Thanks for having me, man. This was so much fun. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And I'm sorry to spur the moment. I'm going. It happened. What was it? Monday this came out. I'm like, hey, Cal, you want to do a live stream on Wednesday?
I mean, it was brand new news, so I get it. It was fun. Man. It worked out for me.
Yeah. So I just want to say goodbye, everyone, and remember, be nice to each other. And I don't know how to close this. I usually have something fancy on my Tuesday night one, so I don't know how to close this out. Oh, I know. Be kind to each other, and good night.
Super Sons.